What's going on, people? Welcome to J Talks Chelsea and welcome to my match preview for our upcoming big game in the Champions League group stages against Juventus in Turin. This is of course going to be a massive game for the group. You feel whoever wins this game could get a bit of an edge when trying to push for that top spot. And of course with this game we come off after that disappointing 1-0 defeat in the Premier League against Manchester City, which of course we want to hopefully get a nice bounce back after that disappointing result. Anyway guys, before we get into this match preview, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe, and if you do, why not hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on new uploads. Also, if you could, leave a like on the video. If you did, it really helps the channel out and I really appreciate it. Now of course, before we get into the video, you might have noticed my background has changed. I have actually decided to use a feature on my video editing software to basically take myself out of the background and just sort of put in a plain background. Now this is a temporary background. I'm currently trying to work on a new background, so this might be a little bit plain to start off with. I will try to I'm trying to like make my own personal background with different sort of features and stuff, but that will take a bit of time to make. I haven't really got the time to make it just this second, but I really hope you guys will appreciate having a bit of a newer background. I know my background wasn't the best, but it was one of the only places I could really film, so I really hope you guys appreciate the new background. I'm also just trying to make a new, just a few new little features and just change up a few little things throughout the video, and you might notice those. I'm just trying to make a few improvements. So of course we come off the back of that disappointing 1-0 home defeat against Man City in the Premier League on Saturday. Of course it was a very disappointing game. We didn't really play that well. We didn't create anything moving forward. It was a very poor offensive performance from us, and Man City just dominated, made it so easy for them, and we could barely get out of our half in the first half. It was very, very disappointing. And I think Tuchel got his tactics wrong. He didn't really change anything up, and also the players just didn't really show enough urgency when trying to move forward and trying to create anything. It was overall a disappointing match, so let's hope we can try and bounce back in this game and try and get a big result as we of course try to qualify for the next round of the Champions League through this group. And I think if we do beat Juventus, that might give us a big boost and a big chance of finishing top of our group. Also, of course, our last Champions League game was that game against Zenit at Stamford Bridge, where, of course, Lukaku made it 1-0. But, of course, it was a bit of a disappointing game. We didn't really create too much. And if Zenit had taken their chances, we would not have come out of that game with the 3 points. So now let's talk about the team news for Chelsea. Now, as we know, in the Man City game, Reece James did go off with that injury. So it looks like he could very well miss the game. I believe he's being assessed. We also, of course, have Mason Mount and Christian Pulisic, who were both out, of course, for the City game. Mount, of course, picking up the injury, and again, he's probably being assessed. And Pulisic was supposed to be back fit soon, but he seems to be still taking a bit of time. So those two are also a bit of a doubt for the game as well. Also, Thomas Tuchel has said that N'Golo Kante has tested positive, so he will be out for the game as well. Now we move on to a bit of team news for Juventus, and it does see that the pair of Paulo Dybala and Alvaro Morata, of course ex-Chelsea, are both looking to be out for the game, as they seem to go off injured in their Serie A game, and it seems that they could both be out for up to 2 matches, so it looks like they will miss the game in Turin. So let's talk a bit about some of Juventus' players, and of course they have some well-known players. Of course you've got some of their defensive players. You've got the likes of course Giorgio Chiellini and of course Leonardo Bonucci, I think, who are actually still playing, of course, at their later ages, of course. They also have Matthias de Ligt, who actually I think has been dropped recently in favour of the 2 previous mentioned defenders, and it looks like he might not actually be starting this game. They also have, of course, ex-Chelsea player Juan Cuadrado, who I think recently has not been playing as much. I think they normally play him as a right wing back, but we could potentially see him in the game. They also have, of course, the ex-Arsenal midfielder Aaron Ramsey, who of course went there on a free. He's a decent player, and I think he could, of course, cause us problems in that midfield. They also have Federico Chiesa, who I think played really well against England in the Euro 2020 final. I've also got Dejan Kulusevski, sorry if I've butchered that name. They seem to be their 2 main wingers at the moment, and their forward striker is Moise Kean, of course, the ex-Everton striker, who I think he's turned it around a bit. I think he's improved since then, and that looks to be their forward line. So obviously, of course, they have lost Cristiano Ronaldo. That's a massive loss for them, and they've been struggling a bit recently. But I think they've still got some decent players. They also have, of course, their ex-manager once again in Massimiliano Allegri, of course, returned back to the club. Of course, he brought loads of success, of course, winning so many Serie A titles, of course, and got them close in the Champions League, of course, got to a final. I think he's a decent manager, and of course, a bit like how Zidane went back to Real Madrid. Of course, he's returned back to Juventus, so it's going to be an interesting battle between him and Tuchel. So let's go into a bit of a head-to-head for Chelsea versus Juventus. Played a handful of times over the last few years, and for the 08-09 Champions League campaign, in the last 16, we played at home against Juventus. It was a 1-0 win, before then playing in the away leg where it was a 2-2 draw, which we managed to go through 3-2 on aggregate. And then, of course, we faced them in the 2012-2013 season. Quite ironically that we are actually playing them again when we are actually champions of Europe. That's twice now where we've actually been champions the previous season, and the season after the group stage we actually faced Juventus. And of course, match day 1, we did a 2-2 draw at Stamford Bridge, absolute banger from Oscar. And then sadly in match day 3, it was a disappointing 3-0 defeat away in Turin, which of course sadly again saw us obviously knocked out and went down into the Europa League. So this is going to be a very interesting match. Of course, Juventus are still a good team, and of course we're going away, and I think of course being an Italian team, they're going to be very defensively organised. They're going to want to keep their shape. They're really going to want to keep it tight, and I think overall, I think it's going to be a difficult game. Even though Juventus have been struggling in the last few seasons, I don't think it's going to be that easy. I really think that it is going to be quite difficult. I'm really going to have to try and break down what I think will be quite a rugged team. And also, of course, they've got some decent players on the attack as well. So I think we really need to try and keep them down. I'm really hoping, just however, for a big result in this game to try and really get a grasp on this group stage. I believe that if we can win this game, that'll give us massive boost when trying to qualify into the next stage and try to get our top spot, because I think if we can beat Juventus, I think we could easily finish top. This isn't the hardest group on paper, so I really think we could do it. Also, I really want to see us bounce back after that disappointing game against Man City. I think it's going to be also really interesting to see how Lukaku goes up against the likes of Bonucci and Chiellini, should they be playing. I think that'll be a really big battle, and Lukaku at the moment been struggling against the likes of like Van Dijk, and I feel like obviously it's going to be a big battle to see how Lukaku comes out against those really experienced defenders, who he of course has already had experience with, as he obviously would have played against them when he was playing for Inter Milan. So there was my match preview for our upcoming game in the Champions League in Turin against Juventus. Can't wait for it. Champions League nights, absolutely love it. Can't wait to get into the game, can't wait to watch it. And again, let's hope for a massive win. I think if we can get these big 3 points, I think that is a really big statement in hopefully moving towards qualifying for the next stage of the Champions League. So let me know your thoughts. How do you think the game's going to go in the comments down below? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Come on you Blues!